I only want werewolves to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like,
Yes.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Old Man Vin, switching the bits here at beautiful downtown Athens, Georgia, joined every week by our book-squishing, card deck-swilling Canadian. You know him, you love him. That's one Jordan Swag. And of course, Pedro Mateus. Gotta pee. You used to call him P-Man. Well, he had to pee.
And now he's just a man.
If you were watching
I drink
earlier,
a lot of tea.
you got to see the Mateus waddle as he was heading in. Boy,
Yeah,
he really had to pee.
There was some bow-legged walking, and he's like, when he says, I have to go pee, I believed him. I did.
Yes.
Together with you, Shot Realm Dynamic, helping us form Cocaine Voltron. Gentlemen, I've been playing with ffmpeg again. I've been trying to get ffmpeg 7.1 to build against OBS, and it has not been a fun minigame. I did not enjoy it, but I kind of got it working. The reason I'm bringing that up is that shit crashed last night when we were doing Trackmania. So if we just blip off of Twitch,
We got pegged. That's the reason.
tell everybody that we were we were too hot for Twitch or something like that, which we'll be back shortly.
Pegged.
Yeah.
Man, as boring as it sounds, I've been playing around doing some benchmarks on that WX 3100 that I bought. Why? Because it was like $30 and I had questions and I asked the internet and Google gave me shrug emoji. I'm like, I don't know, it exists, deal with it. Benchmarking little bitchy cards is kind of fun because I know nobody's going to blow me up. Interesting results, but nobody's going to blow me up. Nobody is looking at a 3100 and going, where's some 1% lows, bro?
There's a bit of that, like,
ones of
calibrated
those.
expectations. Yeah.
Nowadays with Mango HUD. So, yeah.
The information's there, but nobody's looking at your 1% lows on a WX 3100.
They just assume that they're there.
They're just like,
they're
just
low.
give me a number. Like, does it run game? Like, you're just doing stuff at 720p, just watching it. It's torture porn. It's hardware torture porn. That's all I'm doing. I'm abusing these poor little cards. But one thing I want to ask both of you AMD heathens is, what's your favorite utility? Let me know in the comments for controlling your AMD GPU, because I'm using something called just something. I don't remember what it was called.
Lacked. According to your screenshot.
Thank you. All right, Pedro knows what it is. It works, man. It's got a Debian 12 package, plopped it on. It gave me just control out of the box, fan curves, information, performance settings.
I just use core control. That's
Yeah,
that's
same. It's on the Fedora repos. It's really nice. It's really easy.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
but I think Lacked and core control are like using a lot of the same interface or whatever. They're like
They expose pretty much
Yeah.
the same options. Just Lacked has a bit
Lacked is
more going on.
I think Lacked is also like exclusively targeted at AMD GPUs, where core control is more of a generic utility. That's the vibe that I got. Send us an email.
Yeah,
if you're a dev
exactly.
for
Like, let
Lacked.
us know. This, I'm curious what people use. I use Lacked because I typed in and it says Lacked is the thing that does it. It did the thing I needed, and I'm like, that's what we're going to be using.
Sounds
So,
milky.
Maybe it'll work with the new Battlemage cards. Stay tuned later for that. What have you guys been up to, man? Jordan, you got that mattress that didn't explode. I was expecting like holes in the wall or something. Like, well, it opened.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what happens. No, the explosions this week happened during the 8 p.m. to midnight maintenance that I had to do on Wednesday. That was fun.
Ooh,
So,
that doesn't sound like it. It sounds better than having to stand up for a video.
Yeah, it does. But I got to at least sleep on my bed afterwards, and that was nice. I slept really great afterwards. And the moral of the story is spend more money on your mattress because you're going to sleep on it every night.
Pedro,
Yeah.
I know you're really excited about the Sony's hostile takeover of FromSoft.
Yeah, everyone in both
Pedro
the anime
broke
community.
my heart. Like, I was talking in the pre-super shows, and go back and listen to that if you're a patron, about like, well, what's Pedro going to do? What's Pedro going to do when Bloodborne comes out and he's got to create a PSN account? And Pedro's like, man, I got like 10 of them. I don't care.
I already have a PSN account. My problem
Pedro,
is if Sony
Mateus +1 at Gmail, +2 at Gmail, +3 at Gmail.
If Sony decides to start charging, what was that? You want to play our games in multiplayer on PC? You have to pay for the PS Gold. Then we have a problem.
Here's a real question then. How long until PlayStation on that theme gets ballsy enough to come up with their own PlayStation launcher inside of Steam, like the EA launcher?
I think that's more of a Microsoft move, honestly. I think once Xbox ceases to be a product and starts being a service.
Ubisoft Connect, dude, like EA, like they've both done it, and they both, to some degrees, have come back to Steam, and they're like not trying to drive it. Even Cybertruck has a launcher like that. Rockstar.
Yeah, those are all Western game companies. I'm trying to think of like launchers. Okay, maybe the Final Fantasy 7 and 8.
I was just about to say Final everything. That
Monster Hunter, maybe?
I don't think Monster Hunter didn't have. I don't think it did. I downloaded like Monster Hunter, whatever was on sale that one time and played it, and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm out.
Oh, Mir brings up Genshin.
Oh, Genshin, yes. Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, that beats our criteria, hook, line, and sinker. So
yeah. But yeah, no. This week I did learn that I really like Iron Brew Extra, the no sugar version.
He's going native.
Right. Does it not taste like bubblegum?
It still tastes like bubblegum. It's still sweet, but nowhere near as sweet as the regular version. So I like it. I can actually drink that.
Do you like run into like some weirdity like that? Because like I just don't like sweet stuff, but you know, I know people that, or like my first thing when you say that, I'm like sugar-free Red Bull, like the taste of it. Diet Coke. You know, there's always the Diet Coke people. Like I'm one of those. Like just give me the diet drink flavor. And do you get anything that you prefer that is anti-sugar, Jordan? Or are you just like nope?
I mean, I'm a little sad that there is like fewer diet soda beverages or diet soda flavor options these days. Just because, like, you know, with sucralose and shit, they can make that stuff like taste identical to the non-diet version.
I guess that's kind of one of the weird things, though. Like when you talk about the diet drink flavor, because like they have the Coke Zero, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, well, so and this was another mere factoid that if I'm wrong about this, you can totally blame Patrick on. But like the Diet Coke is the sugar-free new Coke formula, and Coke Zero is the sugar-free like Coca-Cola Classic formula. So that's why there is a difference that some people detect or whatever. I don't know.
I have tried Coke Green. That just tastes like stevia.
I know that exists.
The taste of stevia is pervasive. In
Coca-Cola, listen to us. What we're saying is bring back caffeine-free Diet Coke with lime.
Caffeine-free Diet Coke is the most useless thing I have ever fucking heard of.
It's like, so you're telling me sweet water now? It's just sweet water.
Anything. Let's just, here, have a can of club soda on the house. No, not even on the house. $2.
It's the only thing the horse drinks.
The horse drinks nothing but alkaline water with lemon because the horse does not understand how basic chemistry works. Because it's dead. It's the steam. Update of the week. All right, show them them titties. Steam controller.
Oh, nip slips. We've been talking about it, theorizing about it, talking shit about it. We're like, the fuck, man? Where's our Steam controller 2? Here it is. Steam controller 2 is in mass production ? Well, you know, law of headlines and all that. However, there might be a little bit of truth to this. This comes from PC Gamer, with all the hotness will be in our show notes. So apparently tooling for Ibex and Roy, a life well lived, are underway. Ibex being the Steam controller 2. So if true, this pretty much means that they're gearing up for a production run, which could mean they're making, you know, 10, couple hundred, or enough to sell on Steam for $5 a piece in 2027. Gentlemen, I'm getting Brad Lynch, who has dropped a bunch of Steam stuff, like rumor.
They work with OpenXR, so they do a lot of input stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
If anyone would know, he's probably one of the most qualified people to do so, yes. And if it is an official Valve controller, yeah. I'll probably buy it. Yeah, just to say to Valve, yes, please, thank you. More Linux support and things.
Well, we were talking about the HoriPad a few weeks ago, and I think the timing is interesting because I would imagine that they are going after like similar market segments where like we want a controller that you can use for PC gaming, and it is like optimized for XYZ. I guess maybe they're targeting different niches. Like HoriPad is more targeted at like Japanese and like Asian consumers. I don't know. I just hope that they do some like weird wild swings for the Steam controller too. I appreciated. I was gonna say like maybe add like a navel or like a sphincter or something in addition to the areolas, some new orifices.
Yes, you can have the taint in your controller.
Oh no!
I mean, the Steam controller already had the taint. That's what this part is.
As
right?
much as we complained about the Steam controller and the batteries were such a pain in the ass, instead of having that, we're gonna have a battery sphincters. You just put a little lube on them. You put a little lube on them and pop them right up the old pooper.
It's not a pooper. It's just a sphincter. It's only a pooper when you take the batteries out.
I don't know, man.
Otherwise, it's like a cloaca more than anything.
Do we want to get excited, Pedro? Do you think it? Because I want to get excited, see some crazy stuff, but I'm kind of feeling like we're just going to get the 2 Steam Deck controllers smushed together.
Which is not a bad idea. If they can squish what the Steam Deck gives you with, in the traditional controller form factor, I'm down for that, because the layout on the Steam Deck is very, very good when you have your hands this far apart and how things are laid out and the buttons being almost right on the edge with the areolas being a little further in. It's well laid out, so if they can adapt that into a more traditional controller format, I think that's a winner. Yes.
But what if it's like Backbone style where you can like adjust the length of it? I'm just doing like this goatsy thing.
Yeah, right.
but I don't know. Or like I wonder if it's going to be a big square. I hope it's a big square.
A big square would be interesting. Now we do know that they got sued into oblivion about the patent with the back triggers. That was that, right?
Yes.
The paddles, specifically being paddles.
Gentlemen, hear me out. What if we get back touchpads?
They can have buttons. No.
Fuck your button agenda, Pedro. I said
no.
touchpads.
We need to have the butt cheeks like the fucking Deadpool controller.
No, I want actual like I don't know how you'd shove them on there. Just do it.
You'd be like Henley Lamar
like
and the fucking
back
statue
buttons on
from
the Steam
Blazing
Deck
Saddles.
are
Like,
big enough you can make
yes,
these
baby.
touchpad.
I want the entire back of the Steam controller too, just to be a touchpad that wiggles and plays Portal music for me.
Oh no! They're like the IBM clip mice. That's what they are.
Ooh. Okay. Just before you put a red nub on it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's,
put the nipple on it. Yeah.
The nipple.
That's all I want. That's all it is. It's just one controller, one nipple.
I mean, we already have the areolas for the Steam controller, so just put a nipple.
You make one a little larger than the other, so you call the little one the underachiever.
Dude,
I don't know.
You know how they have then you get a Nintendo Switch, right? And like they got like little switches. I was like, does anybody make a wired version of those?
The like the Switch chucks,
like individual ones that come together and plug in.
There's bound to be a third party one that is wired. Just
there was that one controller we talked about a while ago that was like the two that could split apart and you could like do
that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, what if you can like break your controller and like give your friend the bad half? I
mean, you can do that already. You just both sides,
little brother controller.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe you could get a season pass for it instead.
Valve doing the Flying Spaghetti Monsters work simply by not being overtly hostile to consumers. Pretty easy to do in 2024, it turns out, right? Like not a hard thing to pull off.
Not a high hurdle at all.
They've tightened up the rules for season passes, the DLC. You have to commit to completing that content on time. Yeah, just like reading through this, man, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Keep the hits coming, man. So if you're a developer, you need descriptions and dates on your DLC, which is season pass, extra steps. You can push back your release date once. Valve gives you a little bit of wiggle room. They're like, okay, you can hit a button, push everything back 3 months once.
Well, the nice thing is that, or what I hope will happen is they promise that the actual enforcement is going to be like, yeah, no, we'll just like refund people shit. Like if you're not going to deliver the content on time, we will make people whole by whatever means necessary. I hope they actually do that.
Well, you know, it does require like a little bit of planning. You know, a lot of people brought up like Arc, right? And like selling the DLC and the season passes and all that eventually, and you buy it and they're like, here's our roadmap for, you know, you paid for the entire year, and they're like, yeah, we just never got around to it. LOL, JK. This having to force companies, I'm thinking like big companies, it's more not talking about like little indie developers here, to say, okay, this is coming out at this time, this, because you can make an informed buying choice. And if they don't roll it out, you get your money back, which I think is a good incentive, right?
Oh, yeah. Because Valve is going to get that money back one way or another. So, yeah, if you don't want to antagonize old Uncle Gabe, yeah. The refunds
Stay tuned
bit
for the 10-hour edition of whatever the fuck that noise Pedro just made this holiday season.
The bit about the refunds is interesting. They say in the event of DLC cancellations, Valve mandate that customers will be offered the refund for the value of the unreleased DLC. Yes, please, good. Just do that. Do
and
that.
I think,
just,
you know, as a consumer, it lets you buy with a bit more confidence, right?
yeah,
Like, this is good for Valve too, because they get a cut of that, and like people are going to buy it, and you can't stick to it.
Builds trust
Yeah.
in Steam. That's the thing, and it's been almost a decade of bullshit season passes. EA has been one of the most prolific in that particular camp, and broken promises and games that just straight up lie in the season pass, and developers who try to skirt the wording that they had on the original season pass to try and sell some more stuff on the side. And yeah, if anyone has a chance to put a dent in that, the leading storefront for video games on PC is probably the one to do it.
I think
And
it is.
it's a little sad that it has taken this long, but like I guess this is just like the end result of like the pre-order shit, right? Where like you're speculating on a final product.
Even with the pre-order, we'll get to that in a minute. Like, this is all a result of like Valve kicking the fucking table over in the room by making refunds easy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the origin story of that supervillain of like, yeah, now,
Thanks, Australia.
Yeah,
dude, they got it done.
Turns out compelling companies to do shit. Good
But
idea.
we want to think about, can we apply something like, is the last one that I'd really take issue with is early access. Can we set a system, hear me out, to where you're like, okay, I'm going to put my game in early access. Here's my roadmap. And I got to finish it by, and this is something you can set as a developer, by like 3 years. Then it'll be done. Because how many times have you bought into a game that's early access? I'm thinking of definitely one right now. Development was great. It's looking good. And I'm like, boom, let me go ahead and get that. Ghost.
I'm just thinking of Star Citizen, man. Like, hey, just keep giving us money, you guys.
Well,
Star
they've turned,
Citizen is
okay.
the
Star
big
Citizen
one.
is not an early, is it on early access on Steam?
Not
I don't
on
think
Steam.
it's on Steam.
Okay, so let's stick
currently.
to the what I'm talking about. For a change. Let's just see if we can try it.
I mean, it is emblematic of the same problem, though. But
we're talking about Steam and what Steam can do.
But that's the thing. The early access model, yes, it can and has been abused several times. And games that in the Wild West days when early access was first introduced, where you had games that released into early access, then they released proper, and then they went back into early access, and Valve just went, no, you can't do that shit no more.
I mean,
you got
that's
one early
gone.
access, that's it.
And I think early access is a good thing. And like we talked about it on the show for the better part of the last 5 years, the danger of it becoming a business model. What Jordan was saying with Star Citizen, that's not exclusive to Star Citizen by any stretch of the imagination. We got like a
7 Days to Die have released eventually.
It's always been the shield of it's an early access, so you can criticize it. That's the bit that annoyed me. Is like,
I mean, that's
oh,
never stopped the internet.
but like at the same time, like it's in early access. You can't criticize it. It's been in early access for 5 years, bro. You can criticize it.
5. That's rookie numbers.
Yeah, 7 Days
So,
to Die.
you know, I want to see the Valve Reaper like unfucking things that, you know, It's Valve's fault that early access. I want early access to stick around, but I really would like to, because like that again would help me as a consumer, like whether or not I'm just good, because I really don't buy stuff in early access anymore, simply because I'm like, I've been burned enough times of just projects disappearing, and I'm like, you know what? I'll wait. I might still buy your game, but then again, there's a very high chance that I will just completely forget your game exists. I think there's a good trade-off for that. What do we got, Mac? Oh yeah, Pedro's got awards for his deck. His dick.
Yeah, no, my deck didn't get any awards, but the Steam Deck did.
Mine did.
There was apparently
Wasn't there
the
some
golden
game awards
joysticks.
this week? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, but that's where my dick won an award at the Game Awards.
Yeah, the golden joysticks and the phallic puns continue. They happened. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't even realize that that was a thing this year. And they had a bunch of categories and a bunch of games and a bunch of things related to games got awards. For the best gaming hardware of 2024, the winner was the Steam Deck. OLED specifically. Now you might be saying, wait a second, that came out in 2023? Yes, in November 2023, and these awards also happened in November 2024. So that tracks. They're just tracking from November the past year. Fair. The thing that got me, because I had to look at the list of like what won what. And best indie game, Balatro, and then immediately below that, best indie game, self-published, another Crab's Treasure. The fuck's an indie game then?
So Pedro,
what the fuck?
you have stumbled into the music issue of where you have indie, the genre, and then you have independently produced stuff. And these are similarly named but different. I was also curious, like, you know, Golden Joystick Awards. Okay, I put all of my stock into award season, but what were the other nominees for the hardware category? Because like, was it competing against the ROG Ally, the MSI Claw? No, other nominees in this category include the Asus Zephyrus G14, which is a laptop, the Backbone 2 and Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra, both of which are controllers, and the 4070 Super and an LG 4K monitor. That is
we know where the money's going. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is definitely comparing apples and some shit that definitely aren't fucking apples. But I do appreciate that the people do love Linux, even if they don't actually care that it's Linux.
I mean, that's what we all have been dreaming for this long. I remember having a good laugh. We were looking through that, like the streamer awards, and like one of them was just like, best Fortnite streamer. I'm like, yeah, that check cash, bro.
Best outside streamer brought to you by Mountain Dew. Really
Right.
That's the thing. Like, of the streaming awards, the whole, Shadow of the Erdtree as a best game of the year 2024 when it's just DLC. That pales in comparison with, there's two indie game categories, and one of them is very clearly not for indie games because they have a fucking publisher.
So I guess basically the moral of this entire story is we can all look forward to the Switch 2 winning next year, right?
Probably, yeah. If Nintendo release it.
It's going to be the Backbone 3, and it's going to have all the sphincters that we want.
Man, if I ordered something called a Backbone and it showed up and it wasn't like a backbone with some buttons on it, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, they need to make one that looks like an actual spine. That would be dope.
Yeah, dude. They probably did, like, in the 90s, right? Because we just got unhinged with the game controllers in the 90s. Like, there's YouTube channels, like, dedicated to, like, the weirdity.
The Backbone is one of these things you clip on your phone to, like, turn it into a controller type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
We are living in a timeline where, like, active cooling accessories for your gaming phone exist.
I'm just imagining, like, one of those giant, chunky, like, Motorola phones, and you're playing Snake on it with one of the Backbones.
What do we get? Oh yeah, we get new games. We got not one, but two new games, and one was made basically with just nothing but open source goodness.
Yeah, this there was the thread in Linux_gaming. They're using Godot, Inkscape, Blender, Audacity, and GIMP.
It's got a pig on a motor scooter Vespa thing.
It is a board game in the style of like Monopoly or Mario Party. And I'm a sucker for a good board game. And they say there's also like a thing where in the middle of the game you can vote on rule changes, so that should at least make for a semi-entertaining after show.
Oh, so it's like Monopoly with whiskey. Got it.
Yeah,
Played that one before.
Like, drunken Monopoly. They're using VAC. So enjoy your 30-second wait on join, but you will know that that person is just very, very lucky and not a cheating motherfucker. You'll have a mostly fair game. The dude also wrote their own Godot plus Steam networking integration. One already exists, but they decided to do it for funsies, and that was kind of neat. This is all on GitHub as well if you want to check that out, but you can play the demo on Steam. It's got multiplayer, and yeah, I might give that a shot on Thursday, because like I like playing board games with folks.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. I'm down with it. What are our system requirements? You need Linux kernel 4.0.
CentOS, like CentOS 7.
That seems like CentOS 7.
You do need X11.7 or above.
Yep. What's the current version of X right now? Like 20 something or 300?
What is this word?
Stereo. But I legitimately like the idea of a virtual board game that it lets you do all of the stuff that would be impossible or close to it IRL. So you have like all of the virtual advantages to an actual existing board game. I like that idea a lot. This is still Monopoly, so pick your friends carefully on that one. But I want to see that expanded to more board games.
I just remember being young, playing Monopoly, and just like the bullshit rules we'd come up with just to adapt for no reason, never written down. Like, yeah, we had entire like industries of like loan sharking and financing available. Like,
well, and part of that is like the game is very, very clear on what the rules are, and everything outside of it is kind of fair game. Also, Monopoly is a solved game, which is a thing that you might find interesting. There is a way to reliably win Monopoly every time. Yeah.
Are you sure with the class? How do you do it? What's the secret?
You create a housing shortage. You buy all the houses, and you drive the rents up, and then you force people to mortgage their properties to you.
Yeah, I just always like snuck in extra money.
Yeah, just use actual money.
I'm just saying, there's no rules.
Bribe your fellow players.
Listen,
yeah.
They only think I have one Monopoly set, man. Right.
Foreign currencies are being introduced.
Listen, my D&D games are 100% pay to win. If you want to pay me,
fuck yeah,
I will give your character cool shit.
Do it. One of the things I was talking about earlier was retro gaming, and something I went down a bit of a rabbit hole earlier this week, and was with the Mega Drive version of Mortal Kombat. And I didn't realize like there's a subculture of people doing like trying to see how close to like arcade perfect they can make games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter on the original Mega Drive hardware. And I'm sure they're doing it for the Super Nintendo and, 2600 because
Atari Lynx.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm always fascinated by development like that. And like, what are your tools like? What do you got to do? So then I saw a demake earlier this week, Famidash. It's a demake of Geometry Dash, and this thing runs on the Nintendo. But since we got a copy of RetroArch on Steam that works on Linux, which you can play with Nintendo games on, I'm going to put it in the show. Why? Because it's completely open source. You can play with it. It is there to do it, and there's even a recommendation to use VS Code on Linux on the GitHub page. Huh.
Now, I got to imagine that most people are going to do like what myself or Ben did, is I installed FCXU, but like basically RetroArch does the same thing, install your emulator of choice. How does this run on an actual NES? Because there was some like voice noise that came out of it when the game boots up. And like, is the NES sound card capable of that?
Yes. I forget how many sounds you can do.
That had the extra guts.
But yeah, like when you're writing a game for an emulator, you're not necessarily bound by the constraints of the original hardware because have the actual
right. I mean, you're not worried about like having to do like bank switching or anything because of like size limit. Like you could have like 4 gigs of game data sitting.
Yeah, exactly. So I do wonder if you like load this on a cart and run this in an S, like how does it actually perform? But yeah, it's really cool to see this kind of stuff. So like D-makes especially, because you really need to have like an understanding of what makes the game actually tick and what is the minimum viable like experience that you can port down to a lower spec level, which is always interesting.
Dude, I'm like super fascinated. Even like, is like get off our lawns because it's hard for me to consider PlayStation 1 stuff. But like I saw like a Bloodborne cart and things like that. Like,
or the Super NES demake of Final Fantasy VII. That one was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, going from like PlayStation to like Super Nintendo.
And then there's that one kid doing the Mario 64 like reverse engineering and like bringing it up, making that game run at 60 FPS while making these beautiful like 15-20 minute long videos just shit talking the Nintendo programmers. Which is delightful. And but I mean, he brings receipts, you know, he's got it up to running like 60 FPS on, what do you think, Pedro? No retro games for you? You don't like anything with pixels on it, do you, man? You're like, whatever.
I'm not opposed to pixels. It's just the platforming that I'm kind of burned out on. You want to sell me a platformer, you're going to have to be blasphemous levels of
what you're
creative.
saying is Jira makes you jump through enough hoops in your professional life. You don't want to have to jump through hoops in your spare time.
That too, although then again, I'm just, you know, Jira adminning things, so I create the hoops and other people jump through it, so I get to take a little bit of it.
Timestamp on YouTube video warning, Jira. But now that we're done with that discussion, let's talk about something that showed up, what was it? Was it last week or the week before last?
I think it was last week where they were talking about Towers of Aghasba.
Yeah, man. Which looked interesting because it's like this open world crafting survival, but you also get to kill shit and it's got gliders in it. And I'm like, cool, man. We didn't have any pricing information. Well, one, we got pricing information for it. $29.99 early access. It's got a roadmap that stretches out all the way to 2026. The people are not terribly happy with it, but there's day 2 updates. And let's go take a look at the video again of this. It's already at mixed reviews, 840 reviews, which is like way more than I was expecting for an early access game with a pretty decent roadmap on it at $30. Now, Pedro, I would like to ask you, do you believe $29.99 is a bit much for something with a 2026 roadmap, or do you believe that that's an acceptable amount of time for that price?
2 years in early access is nothing. At this point, you may as well say, yeah, the game is basically done, so we're charging you for the full price up front. Yeah.
So you think that is a reasonable ask?
It depends entirely on the content that's there right now.
Oh my god, that was horrifying.
That's the true survival horror, is you gotta fight. You gotta
oh, look.
Tongue rocks.
The creepy and
cousin it.
If you're watching the video version of this, you're like, that's fucking unhinged. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was kind of interested in this. I was hoping it was just going to be free to play during the early access, or like maybe $20, like $30. Nah.
I mean, like
that's the thing.
Given the scale of this game, like I can see that. I could see once upon a time like people charging like $50-$60 for this. But like
that's the big sell of games like this, like the survival crafting RPG type of situations, because yeah, the survival crafting game kind of took over where the RPGs were kind of going, and
because you don't have to write stories for these.
You have a big world where you're effectively creating your own narrative as you go along. I think if the content is there and you're letting people, which, you know, maybe the mixed reviews are an indication that maybe it's not.
Well,
but it is, if the content is there, a 2-year roadmap to say, this is early access, this is what we're going to do, this is when we're going to be done. That would be commendable.
a lot of the negative reviews, though, do seem to take issue with like the actual content itself. Mm-hmm. And the roadmap, I was looking at that, and it's like what they promised, like on a quarter-to-quarter basis, seems kind of aggressive, given the slightly faster than glacial pace that these things typically tend to take, given a lot of prior experience. But coming soon, you don't instantly die in water when you run out of stamina, so look forward to that.
I think maybe for me, like the only thing I'd be worried about is like 2 years from now, you still have the game and so do the other 6 people that are actively playing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a disadvantage for the developers, but it's an advantage for the people that really like that game.
Well, I
just make sure that they can keep playing after you shut the servers down, please.
I think we're seeing like kind of like what like Zeekers is trying to do with this with Lethal Company, where like periodically there's like, hey, we have a car, hey, we have like new changes coming and blah blah blah. You got to like constantly be delivering new stuff and keep it in like the public consciousness if you're going to be doing sort of these extended early access tenures. So yeah, hopefully they have the material necessary to be able to like continually promote it and keep it in the public consciousness.
And I think like one of the things I definitely want to research with this is like how often do they do server wipes during this?
Yeah.
Because I have fuck all interest in ever playing the game if that's not a thing. You know, you don't want to be there on day one of official release and you got other people that have been grinding for 2 years. That it just turns into like,
they have to do at least the one, yes.
Yeah. Like they're totally going to do with Star Citizen, right?
Eventually, yeah.
That's the thing. They'll wipe the servers, but people still paid for the ships, so they'll have the ships anyway. They would just want to have any of the progression.
Pedro loves Morrowind a lot. He's played it a lot. He's even had the developers of Open Morrowind show up on his stream and like, you're doing it wrong.
You suck,
effectively calling me out for everything, yes. But no, this one was an interesting read. I meant to include it last week in the show notes, but I forgot. So here it is this week. The one of the developers of OpenMW, Sector or Stricter, that's how it's spelled,
from Mortal
realize
Sector from Mortal Kombat.
Stricter. Well, he was playing around with the trench broom and he realized, wait a second, this has a lot in common with how OpenCS is structured. And he used to have, he used to play around with the IdTech brush-based level editors back in the day. So he started, okay, so can I make this a thing? And he started, he had a look at how, he explains how Morrowind does the tile sets and everything else. And then he decided, wait a second, so what if I try to introduce Morrowind assets into Quake 3? And there's a picture there of Crassius Curio, the famous author of the Lusty Argonian Maid, in Quake 3, and that is positively cursed. But then he went, okay, so how about the other way around? Can we bring some Quake 3 assets models into OpenCS and thus OpenMW?
Can we bring the hoop noise so when you jump you go hoop?
Just because you want Skibbity Rocket Jump?
Yes, with Crassius Curio's face. Yes, it is truly a cursed thing, but it is. He did it. He actually managed to do it, and it opens the doors right now.
Can I just place a green rectangle?
Yes, that's how it indicates actors. That's where the actor would be. It's effectively the hitbox.
Get away.
And yeah, you can now use the same sort of brush-based techniques that you used for Quake in order to create. That's OpenMW. That's the OpenMW engine. It's like, oh, that opens some doors. That really does open some doors.
No, it doesn't. Me and Jordan are going to be trying to untangle this epic ass quest, and we're just going to hear.
No. Listen, I am all for adding Quake weapons into Morrowind. We need to add lightning guns. We need to add the super shotgun. We need to the fucking grenade launcher. Just because, yeah, take that, goblins.
Oh, dude, that's what I want to see, some PvP lightning gun versus wizard shit.
Right? Yeah, come on. Like,
oh, you could create some overpowered shit in Morrowind, so yeah, that could work.
Walking around with my enchanted ass shotgun.
I'm just saying that, like, I think OpenMW is dead. Now it's OpenQW. We're just, like, trying to amalgamate Quake and Morrowind into,
Jordan,
like, the fucking Go tanks of video games.
OpenQW Arena.
Oh, yes.
Open Quake Wind Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, it works because Elder Scrolls Arena is the thing. Yeah.
I want to play as the shotgun.
So they're in the same. So basically, Quake 3 Arena and Elder Scrolls Arena are sequels to each other, right? That's what we've determined.
Literally direct.
Yeah. The Arena's the prequel, the ancient times. Yeah.
It does make me a little bit sad though, because I remember like the original Quake map editor that shipped with Quake, and that's when I realized like I'm out, because I used to design a lot of maps in Doom and Doom 2, well, BSP editor, and like cussing and screaming because that they wouldn't link up correctly and build a map. And I'm like, I hate this. But when it got to like having to carve stuff out, I'm like, that's too smart for me. But
brush-based editing, yes.
yeah.
Brushy.
I mean, I did make the giant empty room, but then again, we were all on dial-up, so I could never get enough people together to try it out with like no lights in it waiting for the one person to like spark it up and just everybody just. Let's talk about GPUs. AMD, RDNA.
Yes, RDNA 5 is not going to be a thing.
Damn it.
Unfortunate. Yeah. No Radeon DNA. Now it's Universal DNA because CDNA and all the other architectures are getting smooshed into one. Yeah, it's Universal. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's the Universal Soldier, right? Except it's AMD GPUs, so it's going to do the splits over your PCI lanes.
Ice bags.
But anyways, yeah. So they're transitioning from RDNA to a unified architecture, sort of like basically we're going back to the GCN days. It makes sense. Didn't seem like they were going to sell a lot of compute cards. The AMD Inspire line. So it makes sense to maybe bring everything under a single roof and consolidate all that effort. Although I did a little bit of research. The AMD Inspire cards did top out a couple fastest supercomputer lists in 2022 and 2023. So the hardware's there. They're not terrible.
Dude, like cards. I got like genuinely upset with AMD. I was reminded that we got upset on this very show back a couple of years ago when they dropped Polaris support for ROCm. Why? Fuck you, that's why. Go buy a Navi card, you bitch. Yeah, I ran into that and I was like, hey, AMD kills its babies. Like,
yeah. So we got some news about RDNA 4. Looks like it's going to be a lot of bug fixes and a lot of there were issues with RDNA 3. They seem to be some of them are being addressed in software, some of them are being addressed in hardware.
Yeah, the more and more I read up about RDNA 4, it's looking more like RDNA 3 Pro. Like
that's assuming RDNA 3 ends up being anything, you know.
They couldn't call it RDNA 3 bug fix edition. Like it wouldn't fit on the
well, it's like RDNA 3.5.
Yeah.
Like Dungeons and Dragons 3.5.
Yeah, no, the whole UDNA for the PlayStation 6. Yeah, okay. Yep. And now you're just spinning the speculation wheel and yeah. I'll have to see because I have the 6700 XC. It's doing very well for itself, but I am going to be looking at what this upcoming generation, the 8000 series, whatever they end up calling them. I want to see what that can do, and that will dictate whether or not the 6700 XC will live to see another generation. So yeah, it's that's what I want to know.
Thanks to Linux, man, we can still keep these things up and running, but just not so much with a compute. But if you got an AMD GPU for compute, you walked into that dick smashing contest. So.
I mean, you're running one of the most powerful supercomputers in the world.
So you're still getting a dick smashing contest here.
I mean, that's just doing business with Cray.
Or you just didn't have the Nvidia money and you just wanted something, anything.
Do you think, because, you know, like this being like PlayStation 6 or Xbox, whatever, or we're like, that's obvious, right? Like there's no, I wouldn't even consider that a rumor. I'm like, yeah, they're probably getting ready for that because I got to get all that shit together for like 2027 or whenever the hell. But they get me thinking, do you think the next generation of consoles is going to be the last, or have GPU prices finally reached the level of absurdity? Because we saw the rumors about the 5090 being, you know, $2,000 out of the gate this week. Is that just going to be cost prohibitive? And we're going to come back to like, it's going to get people thinking of like, I want to play games. I can't afford to build a gaming PC that's going to play.
I don't know. I still maintain that like strategically long-term Microsoft's plan is just to transition like Xbox into a games service. So whether they facilitate that via like game streaming or whatever, or maybe they release some like more like living room form factor PCs or just keep going with consoles. I think whatever they do is whatever Microsoft does is gonna try and continue supporting that sort of Netflix style model. As for Sony, who the fuck knows? They do what they want.
That's the thing.
They're run with 6 games.
It's not a matter of if, it is not a matter of prices becoming completely unreasonable because they already have. The
Okay,
Nvidia's already
but,
competing
like,
with themselves in the $1,000 plus market.
They are, but we have things like the PS5 Pro, and all three of us look at that and we're like, nah.
My body isn't tempered enough for a $700 console purchase. I need to learn discipline.
If that happens, we will probably, because if you look at the Steam survey, the most popular GPU is the 3060. It's $300, $400, whatever the price happens to be brand new, or $260 if you happen to catch it on sale. It's not, people aren't, or at least the vast number of people that compose the bulk of the gaming sales, they don't buy 4090s, they don't buy 4080s, they buy the 4060 or the 3060 or the AMD equivalent.
So do you think consoles are going to be around in 10 years?
I think they will exist in some capacity. It may not be like a dedicated console device. There might be gaming TVs that are capable of like...
It's just built in. Yeah, it's the AIO TV. Yeah.
Yeah, and like to Pedro's point, I think like as we saw with the Steam Deck and some of these handhelds, people are okay with just like running their games on low. They're not they don't really demand the highest graphical fidelity in a lot of cases, especially from like a console perspective.
The popularity of consoles has proven that yes, people don't really care about the graphics despite claiming that they do.
Yeah, so I think the high end is always going to be like these multi-$1,000 things, and there's going to be products designed to cater to that because that's where the whales are. But I don't know. I think what our definition of a console is going to change in the next 5 to 10 years.
If it hasn't already.
I don't know. Like, I wonder about stuff like that, and like, are consoles going to stick around long enough to like return to being, ARM or RISC?
And I mean, if they go the smart TV route, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if they're going to be like an integrated bit of
no, Jordan,
a larger
I want like
thing,
two
like a TV.
5090s hanging off the back of the TV.
No, yeah. Well, see that we're gonna integrate that with your dangling NVMe idea, so you can just like plug floppy 4090s on the back of your TV, just let them dangle.
Stack them, baby.
The third-party water cooler for your television.
It looks like a fish tank, yeah.
I was thinking about this like earlier this week, like with like however crazy they got to get with these coolers, man. Are we like maybe this could drive motherboard manufacturers because Nvidia's got enough like leather jacket threatening power to do this, to be like, we need to standardize on 2x16s this far apart from each other, so they can have like the dual slot where the other one's just a dummy slot to hold up the chonker cooler.
Are we gonna like reinforced motherboards? I want to see like sliding rail shit. The whole like clipping it in and like having it wobble. It's a little. It's
just
having
structurally like a rail on a case. Even nowadays, helps a lot because yes, stuff like the 4080 and the 4090, they're heavy, they're thick boys.
They need fucking kickstands to like not snap off your damn motherboard.
It's
Pedro,
such a thing. Like Pedro's even got like a little GPU helper in your case, don't you?
Yeah, it's not currently in use because it annoyed me. It was in the way.
I thought I might need one with the 7800 XT. It's staying up there for now. I'm praying for now. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that's a normalized thing, right? Yeah, you can go buy the thing to keep your GPU from sagging.com.
Yeah.
Well, that was the problem with like the RTX 200 series was they were suffering from sag after a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you don't notice until you take a picture of your fucking PC and you look at it later and you're like, whoa, all right.
Yeah.
It's like, I can see the slot.
Yeah.
So if that's the baseline, what the hell's happening?
or you're doing some cleaning on your PC, you pull it out and your graphics card looks like a fucking frowny face. It's like,
okay, let's start with our next topic, which is something that I thought I was just going to throw in as a joke because I legitimately wrote, we've been reduced to getting excited for, drum roll, boxes.
Not even the box, just the sleeve around the box.
Yeah. Delicious cardboard.
Yeah, like the paper sleeve for the Intel BMG, the B
non-corrugated
80. Yay!
Those cheap bastards.
And here we are, man. Here we are coming up into the very ass end of 2024. where Intel, after like 5 years of like getting their booty handed to them by their air quote, not even air quotes, quote unquote, our competitors, their marketing department is still munching on a diet primarily composed of fuck mothering glue sticks. Feel free to quote me on that. I mean, where's the Battlemage marketing? Where's it? They're to the point of printing boxes and radio fucking silence. And why is this a big deal? They're like, well, boxes, it's theory, right, Pedro? Just like whatever. Like it could just be a test box.
That's the thing. We know the dimensions of the box because the dimensions of the sleeve, it has to go around the box. So we know that, and that the sleeve isn't made of corrugated paper. Sure. Okay.
the forest thanks you.
Yeah, if the box exists, then there should be something that's going to go in the box.
Oh, here, can I put this
What's in the box?
Rock Steel Legend in it? Because that just got accidentally leaked today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Nailed
If
it.
Intel isn't going to advertise it, ASRock's going to do it for us.
ASRock's like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Imagine being like an AIB, like an ASRock or, Sparkler, like, we could use some marketing for this thing we're making and trying to sell from you. But yeah, let's go back to the ASRock. What are we looking at? It's got ray tracing written on the box right next to 12 gigabytes of memory. And keep in mind, this is the B580. This isn't going to be the B770. So this is our mid-tier, more basic, but not the super low end Intel Arc, which if they're at the boxes, it's got the ZSS, XMS, and the Intel Arc thing on the front. Am I terribly excited about this? Kinda. I would hope. I was hoping for more than 12 gigajoules of memory RAM, just to be honest, even in the B580. But
the 480 had 8, or did it also have 12?
It might have been lower.
480 had 16.
Did it? Or was that the 770?
The 770. Well, see, here's the confusion.
470
Even the 770.
Scott, help me out.
Yeah.
Even the 770 Intel came in 8 and 16 variant.
Right.
No. These things exist. Like, there's nothing stopping Intel, probably other than Intel, from getting these out before Christmas.
The 380 was a 6 gig card.
Yes.
So it was like the 2060 comparison.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is, from what they're putting down, this is like the 3060 Ti, 4060 Ti equivalent. And yes, those two are interchangeable because they're like within 2% of each other performance-wise. So as long as Intel
So the
can hit
3060
that,
Ti and the 4060 Ti.
yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, those and
I just don't want somebody
3060
breaking a
and the
chart out on me
4060.
later this week and be like,
Well, as we've determined, these names are like not super descriptive and are
and by
very,
the
very
way,
similar
Pedro,
to each other.
as they shill for Team Green, it's pronounced Thai.
Yes, sorry, my bad.
All right.
The TIE,
All right.
the TIE fighter.
We'll let it slide. Yeah. Can you believe
But,
the
yeah.
fucking gall they could do that? That dude tried to make it a thing and you're like, get the fuck out of here, man.
The stuff like this, like I mentioned earlier, this is where people are buying the actual GPUs that people are buying. It's the 3060 Ti, 4060 Ti. That's like the high end
mid-range.
of what people get.
Yeah, low to mid range. That's where your money, but your profit margins are not, 300%. So,
Mhm.
in order to maximize it, you put some AI stickers on this bitch.
And then no one buys it because you're overpricing
Well-
the shit out of it.
Well, speaking of no one buying it, like I don't know. This is a purely vibes based assessment.
All right,
I have zero.
give it to
I
me.
have zero data.
Come on,
backing this
Moonspell,
up.
let's hear it.
Yeah, I think at this point, based on like, we got some box news, we may or may not get Celestial, but I don't think we're getting Druid. I think Intel is like, yeah, we spent too much money on the R&D, we got to get something out, but
It depends on
I
how
think-
I'm sorry,
these,
our processor
okay.
division's imploding. We don't know what we're doing.
You see, no, if I'm making
No
that
one knows what
fucking,
they're doing,
if I'm
Pedro.
making that fucking argument to the board, I'm like, we need something else. We need plan B. So let's hold on to this fucking compute thing that we're working with.
maybe. But again, this is Intel executives we're talking about.
This is fucking Intel. This is, they've been on a trajectory of like, the fuck you doing for at least 5 years minimum.
Yeah, they've been sniffing the glue. They've been eating the rubber cement.
Karmically, I'm okay with it, but I still want to see what Battlemage comes out, because I've legitimately been holding on to this 3060 and Threadbooper here, which is a 12 gig card, mainly because it still does the job, but like the 40 series were just too expensive for what they were. What Pedro was pointing out is like, it's not that big a bump. So if I could get something like raw compute performance, I'm going to need like 30-40%, and it's still going to have to come in under $400, because that's what I paid for the 3060.
And even $400 for the 3060, that's pushing it.
That's what I'm saying. If we get like 40% uplift on that, and I'm also trying to think like in the minds of people, like now that equation changes if Intel's ready to eat some shit, and they can do this for like $200.
Oh,
$250.
Yeah, even $250, yeah. Even $250, this would be hotcakes.
Well, they've proven that they were willing to do that with Alchemist.
I guess, but
there's no guessing. They sold that thing at that below fucking cost.
Right, but how successful was that? Right? Are they going? Was that successful enough?
It should have been a lot more successful than it was, because it was a year late to the market.
But yes. That's the thing. That's the thing. They don't care about the ifs, ands, or buts. They care about the numbers on the paper. So if I don't know,
really,
dude, this is what
the
I'm
same company
about.
that pushed out imploding CPUs that after 6 months of working just shut themselves.
No, Jordan, I think you're completely right. It's just that their ability to execute on that has not worked out for them. So like,
I don't know. There's a mix of incompetence and sunk cost at play that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a recipe for interesting times.
So even what Pedro was saying, like everybody knows this is not like secret knowledge to anybody. And we were talking about this during Alchemist coming out. That middle part, it's a low margin, but like even AMD wants to taste that too. And I think this could be the thing that fucks up AMD's plan with their next series of low and mid range, because AMD's like, we're not even fucking with the top end. NVIDIA can just have that nonsense. But I'm pretty sure AMD was expecting better profit margins on that lucrative market. If you use lucrative in volume is the right words I'm looking for. And where Intel can come in and go, debated. And like, like $30-$40 if they can match them on performance, which that's all remains to be seen. But
I hope it does. I got an RX 580 that I'm hoping to replace with a Battlemage if it's like not shit.
Right.
So yeah, like
hopefully this works out for Intel. Intel, I never thought Intel could use a win.
But poor underdog Intel. Those scrappy little fuckers.
I'm not done watching them getting kicked in their little Intel dicks because of what they did to AMD in the early days. But give them one on the GPU side.
We do need a player 3.
We do.
It would be very nice to have finally the player 3 going, yeah, no, we're competitive. It's not the best. Again, like Ryzen, it wasn't the best when it first came out. It was competitive. So now you just flip the thing around and it's Intel. You just have to be competitive.
No, man. Here's the thing, though, Pedro. Do you think we could get this Battlemage? We all get some Battlemages and put it in our brand new hipster-ass PC cases.
That looks like an air conditioner.
Yeah, as it turns out, April Fool's jokes. Sometimes people really like what you are joking about. And they like it so much that they make it a point of pointing out to your head office. And the head office goes, well, fine, okay, we'll make one. And Silverstone, they learned that they have to be more careful going forward with what they're advertising, April Fools or not. And the new those two stacked floppy drives,
they're not real floppy drives though. They're fucking
they're not. They're fake. You can still put a 5.25-inch bay. They have one of the sample pictures with the it has like an Asus DVD drive popping out. So you can use it for that, but you can see the one below it. It's just USB ports, which fair enough. That's the IO that people use these days. So it makes perfect sense. But if you really want to go for the old-timey look, yeah, it's the FLP01. If it probably needs a better name. Just say.
I mean that's what cases used to be called back in the day. They were just like some serial number or some shit, right?
They didn't have really
that one, right?
Yeah, that one over the cool looking one.
Yeah,
look at
the
that
one with the shiny button. That's it.
I can tell you, like, we got one GPU, we got a little short boy, thick boy in there with like looks like dual 10 gig NICs. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe
There's two cards with red heat sinks.
Yeah, some NVMe's.
And of course the CD-ROM. No,
And
this
there's
is
a little structural thingy down the middle. So
yeah, I know it's going to break your heart when you put like your 400-pound CRT monitor on top and it doesn't immediately fold.
You have to though. If you're going to go and buy this case, you got to stick your monitor on top like a proper human being. Like,
now let's talk about this thing being authentic retro. Now this is not supposed to be like an old PC. This is supposed to be a very particular retro Japanese PC that of some fame is what it's trying to mock. But like the rest of us over here, we're like, that looks like an old desktop PC. And it is Silverstone making this, so it's legitimately just going to be made out of some basic bitch cold rolled steel. No,
that's painted beige.
Yeah, like this thing's going to be heavy. It's going to be sharp.
Now, so someone has to like get this and do the fucking Noctua special and just like fill it out with the beigest fucking fans you can.
Oh yeah.
I would say don't give them ideas, but they're working on it probably. I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on like retro cases? This made me think about, because I got like the one retro case that I've held on to, and it wasn't retro in 2001.
It's vintage. It's vintage.
It's that full tower with like the fan grills that do that down, crescent shape at the bottom, and it's that one. Alienware did a PC with those, and I got a black version of that case. Dumpy case these days, because it's got like 80 millimeter dual intake and out, but it's 80 millimeter. Like they feel like kids fans these days, right?
What's that? Minimum 140? NZXT H510, yeah.
I got that's what I got in my case right now, like 140s, and
there's always that like nostalgic feeling you get looking at those cases. But yeah, like modern cases are just way better laid out. They're modular. You can like pull hard drive cages out and like have more space for shit.
They don't cut you.
Some of them don't cut you.
The Silverstone is still in business, yes. But yeah,
do you remember the first case that you got that had enough space in the back for cable routing?
I remember being shocked when I was like, "Oh, there's actually like room on the backs."
Yeah.
Like normally, this is just like the side of the case that you remove so you can get at like the fucking.
Listen, I'm fully. I'll like admit to it. I did never bother with. I had nest of cables roughly adjusted to where you could get some air, because we had ribbon cables by the ATA IDE. They kind of separated enough to get some air in there.
The excess cables, shove them all into the unused 5 1/4 inch
the top bay, right?
Yeah, that's what it's for, right? Obviously,
just kind of hang it up in there. Yeah.
No, because you had that
the
third.
opposite.
You had that third CD-ROM drive. Yeah.
So I want like the smallest case that I can fit a full size ATX motherboard, and a GPU. Dual slot GPU. It's not even a very big GPU. I want the full size ATX in the smallest case possible. I do, and thus far I have not been successful. There's a couple of ones that try to do like the table form factor, where you just then have to have the card on a riser so it's horizontal as well. But I just want a smaller case.
Why?
Because he likes cutting himself.
Yeah,
so
right?
he can feel.
Because I have currently I live in a very teeny tiny place. It would be nice to have teeny tiny case.
No, dude. Like I'm like trying to scroll up through their super secret Discord, because I think I posted a picture of this thing in a case the other day, didn't I? At 3100, because it is tiny, but it's in a tiny case, which is the Silverstone case, made out of steel and cutty metal. Oh my god, that's horrifying.
Jagged.
Yeah. I can't find it. I'm too lazy.
The
Blood,
Silverstone
sweat,
and
tears.
CIT also makes those teeny tiny little cases.
Cooler.
Yes.
I have been cut on more Cooler Master cases than I think any other case.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I got a little bit of experience with
Zalman cases. Even the plastics were sharp in the Zalman case.
The like Silverstone I'm familiar with because I had enough instances of like if you need to put a PC in a rack, they're the ones that make all the rack PCs. You know, it's just a 19-inch that you can buy and put the board in and slap it in a rack and be done with it.
They also come with a 36-pack of adhesive bandages because they know.
Right? Like, wait, why does this thing have like a couple of bags of blood? Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, why do I have to select blood type when I order this thing online?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for tonight. If you want to get in touch with us, you want to scream in our general direction, head over to the contact page on LinuxGameCast. We got a super secret email address, no reply at LinuxGameCast. It does work. We do get the message. We can holla back at you. But if you want to leave a note to us and get a quick response, do it on the Patreon post or just below the video over on YouTube. Speaking of Patreon, if you want to finance our shenanigans, hit that support tab. Become our new heroes. Become people that we want to love, possibly lick, over on patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. And of course, we got LibrePay, PayPal, all the usual suspects. We got Wishlist for all the hosts. If you want to pick up something, send in a message. Happy to read it. I might even put you back here on the fuck wall. And of course, merch and humble. But if you can join us and support us, what we do every Saturday night on Patreon, you get a bunch. Do you say Patreon or Patreon? Which one do you use?
I use Patreon.
Yeah, I always get
Patreon for the platform, patrons for the people.
We would love you to patronize us, is what we're saying, man.
Oh, what a sweetheart.
No, thanks so much.
It's such a good podcast, you guys. It's so good.
Get your name in the credits. You get live and uncut versions of the show. If you're like, the show's too short. I saw somebody complain about Weekly Daily Wednesdays the other day. They're like, it's too short. I'm like, dude, it's like an hour long. The uncut version's an hour long. I don't want to hear it. Also, we still love you. And downloadable video version, pre-super shows, and access to our Discord, along with a bunch of things. Jordan's going to be playing on Thursday a board game that you might be able to join in as well.
No,
as a Twitch sub
we'll
or
see
a patron.
if the demo works. I guess
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
I do the Trackmanias.
It's a good thing to try, yeah.
On Tuesdays and Fridays with the TM2 crew. Come hang out with us if you want to get some of your old man racing out of your system. It's a fun vintage game, and we got a bunch of people. We only had one spot left on Tuesday. It's already like almost full. No, it's first come, first serve on that one. And a bunch of other cool things going down. Didn't get any great hate mail this week.
I looked at the comments now.
Yeah.
Lovely comments, by the way, but no hate mail so much.
Bring a little rage, bring some good questions, and maybe we'll get to them next week.
What case have you been cut on the most?
Right.
When you're assembling PC, what brand of CPU case has drawn the most blood?
Oh, and I completely forgot. Like and subscribe, because that makes a little fucking thing glow. I saw somebody say that the other day in a YouTube video, and it made me jump a little bit. Because I was watching it on my tablet.
Like and subscribe?
Yeah, you know, when people say like and subscribe, Pedro.
Yeah, no, I haven't been using the YouTube UI for long enough that I didn't even know that was a thing.
On mobile, like when you say like, the little thumb thing lights up with a rainbow, and when you say subscribe, it does that with a subscribe thing.
I only want werewolves to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. They already have the automatic transcription, so they can just go, ooh, you said that.
Yeah, but when I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Followed by the, like, it took my brain a minute. It was like, oh, dumbass. I'm like, right, okay.
Oh, can we get like one for like extra big ass fries where it just like automatically like turns it into booming
It just
mode?
brings a big ass with some fries.
Extra big ass fries.
There you go, FX boy. Lick and submit. And if you really dislike the video, click on it twice with the down thumbs to let us know.
Don't forget to click confirm when you click unsubscribe.
Send another comment because we get paid on engagement.
Yes. Confuse the algorithm. Watch our video. And of course, if you want to get in hold of me, I'm doing everything over on Interfacing Linux. I'm slammed right now. I was talking to Pedro earlier. I have a stack of ARM boards because I was joking around and said, I'm going to become an ARM guy. I'm like, oh, fuck me. We're there already.
That into being.
We are there already. Interfacing Linux for all of your audio, video, Linux creative needs. You got questions? Come over there and ask me some mothering questions, and I'll be glad to help you out. Got a forum. It works like a form where you can ask things, and I don't let AI scrape or steal all your data bits unless they're very sneaky about it. Then I catch them later, and I'm like, you bastards. I'm looking at you, OpenAI. Happy to help you out over there. I think, gentlemen, that's going to wrap us up for this reason. Well, a little long, about an hour and 13 minutes. That's going to confuse somebody after editing. Like, wait, what?
It's too short.
Let's go ahead and cue the music. You could always find this right here on Twitch, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, where we go live. Chatting and hitting microphone arms, that's what we do. LinuxGameCast, that's what it says on the t-shirt. Get in touch with me. I'm on all the social medias. I'm over on X, at Vinstone. Mastodon, we get our mastodon.linuxgamecast.com, at Vin. Blue Sky, I think I'm just at Vin on that. A lot of people have been adding me on Blue Sky. I'm like, all right, that's cool, whatever. And like I said, hit me up in Discord. If you're a patron or Twitch sub, link that up. Come say hi, I'll say hi back. Or over on Interfacing Linux, where you gotta log in and you can reply me there and I'll be like, hey, cool.
I'm Jordan. If you want my blood, you're gonna have to guess what type it is and follow me on Mastodon at Frojo at mastodon.linuxgamecast.com or Frojo at bsky.app if you want to find out where I'm leaving bags of my blood in this weird geocaching game about my blood.
And if you want to discuss the intricacies of bloodletting, please hit up literally anyone else. If you do decide to follow me on Mastodon at mast.linuxgamecast.com, we can discuss other things.
Like Pedro's blood.
Yeah, I just want to see what the mobile ad game pops up over the bloodletting.
Blood.
Time for some credits.
I live again.
Well, it's time to watch the credits fly into space and try to read very, very quickly. Let's do it. We gotta thank our advisors. Oh, no. Yeah, there they go. It's our third. And we gotta thank our executive producers, 1234, Ian, Eshep, Kraducky, Drummer, Thetargos, Barbremp, Scott, Atomic Mike, and our little Nikki fans, Eggy, Basil, Empty, and Casey.
And the Sea Monsters, Dazzing Joe, John, Dirty Dean, Angel, Dementor, System T, RL, Rider X, Machina, Nehemiah, Veritanuda, Trudgy, and Mike. And the Death Notes, Redisk, Mark J, Tarot of Oil of Hope, Benjamin Nova, Chad Romeo, Nubbin, Turnover, Martin, Renee, Leonardo, Kim, Chris, Jill, and Steve,
Jonah,
and Gamotron, and Monica,
Mr. Alert,
-9, and Jason,
Door-to-Door Geek,
Lord Maka,
Nick,
and Paolo. You're all truly wonderful.
I gotta rework it. All right. Something's going on crazy, but I gotta check my credit template. It's been fucky for the last 2 weeks.
It's the aliens, man. They're hacking you.
I'm telling you, dude. So what is the moral of the story this week? What did we learn, Jordan, outside of bloodletting?
You gotta let the right blood in.
Let the right blood in.
Yeah, like let the right one in.
That's
I know
just
where you're going with
for letting the right people into your life. Yeah.
A holy meaning to drip, drip, drip. Dynafire, everyone. We'll see you next week. Hey, OBS didn't crash. Nice.
5 dudes.